This property, from the time we arrived here as a commune, has been known as the barn by all the local people, and it seems like the barn is a good symbol for the place as we used it and as we enjoyed it. However, the story started well before I'd ever seen this place. Came to Edmonton in 1966 to start teaching at the University of Alberta, and I went to a party that first year. I was still a faithful church member. I had no idea about communes. I It was completely out of my world, and there was a lady at this party that was known by the local people as a not a witch, but as a necromancer of a sort,
Psychic.
psychic. She Her specialty was reading palms, and she shook my hand when I met her, and she said, "Oh, wow." And I thought it was a come on. I didn't know what was going on, but she wanted to know if I'd like to have her do a reading for me. So I said, well, yeah, I didn't have much faith in that kind of stuff. Anyways, so she took me into the bedroom, and she sat down on the bed beside me, and she took my hand and kind of rubbed it a little bit, and started making these same noises. Oh my. And I gathered that she was communicating that she was seeing some interesting things by in contact with me. And she just held my hand, and she didn't even hardly look at it. And then she started describing something. She says, I have a really strong picture of you standing on the porch of a very large building on a hill overlooking some really nice property. There's quite a large open field, lots of trees around, a stream running through it, and I see people walking around the property, children playing, and just people walking around. And then she said, I'm not sure what I'm seeing, but she said, are you thinking about starting a school? And I said, no, no, I certainly am not. And so she started describing it again. She said, I see you standing on that porch looking out over those people walking around the property, and you're looking very self-satisfied, like you'd really done something. Are you sure you're not thinking about starting a school? And I said, yeah, I'm absolutely sure. By this time I was getting pretty cynical about the whole thing. And she described in detail the shape of the field that was down below, and what was on the other side of all those trees. That river was running, and she saw that as really an important part of the scene. And no, I didn't know anything about any property like that, and it certainly wasn't anything I'd seen. And she said, well, I'm not sure what it is I'm seeing, but all I can do is describe the details, and you have to decide whether it's got any relevance. And I kind of dismissed it from my mind because I couldn't see any relevance to it. But about 2 years later, in 1970, I was sitting on the porch of this building, looking out over the land, and there were children running here and there, and there were people, lots of people out there, and I was feeling so good that our plans to start a commune had actually begun to bear fruit, and that we really had something concrete going. And then it dawned on me that this is what she had been seeing. What she was seeing was a commune, but she didn't know what to call it. And so she was calling it a school. But in my mind, there was no question that she saw this place in her vision. And it kind of shook me. It was so clearly something mystical. it also gave the whole thing a certain amount of legitimacy, like it was meant to be, and gave me a lot of confidence to go ahead with the plans that we'd been making and so on. Originally, originally, we Jeff Wright and I were going to live in this building with our families, and other people were going to have to do something, build something, or bring something here to live in. We got this barn for a song, and at first it was the only building that livable in the wintertime, and so the first winter there were 9 adults and 11 children that moved into this building. We had no partitions or anything. It was all open. The thing I remember most about that winter was, number one, we worked our asses off to winterproof it and to build the rooms, and secondly, we had music all the time. This was a golden age of pop music, and we not only had the Beatles and some of the late '60s performers, but we had people like Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Linda Ronstadt and
Rolling Stones, Steely Dan,
Steely Dan, Rolling
Carole
Stone,
King, the
Carole
band.
King. Now that record, of course, is still considered the most popular record that was ever produced, and it sure was one of the most popular ones that we had. We listened to
Until
that.
Michael Jackson died, and there's been a few other Quantum
Yeah.
Leaps.
It was an amazing thing because we had all these records that we pooled, and so we had the great music going day and night.
Yeah.
We had a party almost once a week, and we used to dance. It was like that was the thing we did at our parties, was dance and sing along with the music. And even neighbors used to come, and then it got to be friends of my kids who were in school in Onaway, and they would invite their friends down, so we'd have a lot of stray teenagers here, and they would mostly sit around watching us doing our dancing and stuff. But and then the boys got a band together, my boys and some of the local boys, and they used to play sometimes, and we'd get other people would get their guitars out and we would sing away. It was really a beautiful time in my life, and I think most people who lived here.
Let's get a wider shot of the barn here. Whoops. Oh, there it is. There's a funky outhouse over there.